John, good to see you. Welcome to Spotlight.
Greetings, greetings, viewers. Edgewenka, a story that's making the rounds in the Virgin Islands these past couple of days is the closure of the Little Dix Bay Hotel. The resort would be closed for an extended period to undergo major renovations, we are told, from May 2016 to December 2017. Of course, 300 employees will be affected, and as a result, the trickle-down effect in terms of the impact on the community and so forth. There are a number of things that are coming to the fore as a result of that announcement, which came out last week. Premier and Minister of Tourism, Dr. Orlando Smith, he has indicated his displeasure with letters or a termination notice sent out to some of the employees. The Premier says, in his view, he thinks that matters pertaining to seeking employment and severance ought to be negotiated further. The language is clouded somewhat, and we're not sure precisely exactly what the Premier has seen. We're not sure exactly what he knows, but we get the impression that he's dissatisfied with the resort's approach to severance and maybe the possibility of re-employment for some of those people on completion in 2017. We saw a release from the resort indicating that associates of the resort would be invited to reapply and so forth when they're actually ready for their reopening come next year. The Premier says, however, government will be holding the Little Dix accountable for all promises made, verbally as well as in writing, and to keeping of the deadline for the reopening. Now, that, of course, would depend on how the construction, or rather the renovation work goes. But the resort, they seem pretty confident that they can complete this renovation in time for reopening in the festive season of December 2017.
Can we fault anyone, Sean? The resort is a more than 50-year-old resort.
Yes.
It, of course, may have had some facelifts over the years, but it's got to be pretty outdated, I would think. Some of the appearance and the facilities.
The location is very serene.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the location is
Yes,
perfect.
yes.
But the structure itself must need some sort of renovation
Yes.
after, after 50 or plus years. So, I don't think we could blame Little Licks, Rosewood, Little Licks Bay, for wanting to do that.
Yes.
You know, I think what everybody seems to be concerned about, and you could shed some light on this, is the way it's being done.
Yes.
Are you getting a sense that there's a cooperation between government and Little Licks Bay trying to minimize the impact on the employees, and perhaps to minimize the impact on the overall society? Because with 300 people out of work, of course, you're talking about rents to pay, mortgages to pay.
That's right.
Food to buy, clothes to buy, and all kinds of other ancillary services that surrounds a group of 300 people that's going to be unemployed.
Certainly it's going to have a major impact, if not already, on the Virgin Gorda economy and the wider Virgin Islands economy, as you're rightly mentioning. Now, 300 employees, we're not sure in terms of the demographic breakdown, how those employees are spread, how many of them are young people or not so young and so forth. But certainly such a layoff, let's call it that, a layoff of such magnitude, 300 people, will have repercussions. If we are to make a comparison, when Barras Creek Resort closed in 2015, I believe it was June of 2015, 73 workers had to be laid off. And Mr. David Johnson, who was then the operator of that resort, said he had spent $9 million or so, and he just couldn't spend any more. Actually, 9 years and millions of dollars. He didn't give a precise quote, but 9 years, millions of dollars invested, and he figured he had gotten to a point where he couldn't spend any more because he probably wasn't seeing what he would like to see as an investor. And eventually, he had a number of those workers, I believe 18 in fact, transferred, yes, to the Oil Nut Bay property. He indicated as well, while doing so, that the workers were to be paid until the official closing period for that resort, which was in August. They close for the August break annually, and they were being paid even though the resort itself was closed. I'm not sure the period for which they were paid while they were not actually working. And apart from getting 18 of them employed at his oil, not the location, the government and other people were involved in assisting with re-employment for some of the workers, the 73 workers at Barras Creek. In the case of the Little Dix Bay Resort, 300 workers, you gotta be scratching your head wondering, where are we gonna place these people, given of course that most of them would want to find work elsewhere in the territory.
Yeah. Well, I would look to the timeline for the closure
Yes.
for a source of optimism, in that May is 5 months away.
Yes.
And so it's almost a half a year that they would have to prepare themselves for that transition from employed to unemployed. And if thinking, well, the thought that the cruise pier is going to be fully open and completed, a significant increase in cruise tourists coming to the territory, many of whom going to be going to Virgin Gorda on excursions. There may be some economic activity, increased economic activity as a result of the development
For
of
Virgin Gorda.
for Virgin Gorda,
Yes.
which perhaps may help to absorb some of those unemployed persons from Little Dix Bay, perhaps temporarily until Little Dix Bay come back on stream.
That's a fair point because, for example, the bars, the restaurants, they are like, and the taxi operators and other, ancillary services, they are likely to see that that result in terms of the influx of visitors going to Virgin Gorda. And we do know many cruise passengers, they tend to head to the Virgin Gorda side. But in terms of the employees themselves, you said, 5 months, but they actually have a 3-month window in which to find additional or supplementary or alternative employment, depending on what the case is. And May 1st is just around the corner. So we're not sure in terms of the information coming out from the Premier's response to this and the press release issued by Little Dix, precisely what is the severance pay arrangement. If we are not going to be privy to the details, we are not sure if the workers are happy about what they're getting, because there was a meeting held on Friday, and we're not sure what took place during that meeting. What I can tell you is that we have seen some responses via the Virgin Gorda Community Group Facebook page, and some of them quite interesting. We have folks basically suggesting that the time chosen for the closure and the length of the closure, those are questionable, and some also are wondering the focus on quantity versus quality. They're wondering if the resort is simply looking to accommodate more guests as opposed to really offering top-notch service and so forth. Other people are saying, I thought we had learned from the mistakes of St. Thomas USVI, who went for quantity versus quality. And people have their opinions, much of which I would say are leaning on the side of subjectivity, because there is still more information that needs to be shared with the public so that we can all be on the same page.
Yeah, but we have to remember, too, that Little Dix Bay has been labeled a 5-star resort.
Yes.
And so in order to maintain that standard,
They got to upgrade.
some certain things must be done
Yes.
in a periodic fashion to a certain standard. So I don't
But
know.
maybe they could have been indicating this coming along. Maybe let's say November last year, they could have been here on Spotlight saying, Edgerenka, we're going to move towards this particular direction. How about bringing the JTV cameras in December, or even prior to the announcement, and giving us an idea of what's going to take place? I'm thinking, I'm not sure if they had meetings with the employees before. Was this the first meeting with the employees, all 300, or however they decided to meet them?
Have you been able to talk to the employees? Are there
Folks seem to be-
any indication of dissatisfaction on the part of the employees?
That's what we were looking for. We haven't been able to detect that just yet, and I suspect that some folks are probably holding their guns because they are of the view that it's not over yet. The Premier has said he wants to see what he has seen in the notice they negotiated further in terms of severance and so forth. So maybe people are saying, let me keep my cool for now because this is not over yet. The Premier seems to be on our side, if we may put it that way, and therefore we may see further developments taking place.
Well, I expect that in the days, in the weeks ahead, more information will be coming forward, and we'll get a clearer picture
Certainly.
of what is to happen, how it will be done, and I suspect that it'll be worked out. I can't see a major resort like Little Licks Bay and the government having an adversarial, taking an
That's right.
adversarial position. I think that it has to be a level of cooperation where the employees benefit and the territory as a whole benefits. So
And
I'm
certainly,
looking-
the resort officials had to go to the Tongue and Country Planning Department, we would like to think, to apply to begin this process. There's several processes involved in any construction work or renovation work in the territory. And we're hoping, too, that we could get some information on that. Was that done in August last year, in November, or was it done last week? Is it still not yet done? You know, those kind of information should be pretty useful.
Well, we're looking forward to what's going to happen in the days ahead, and we are hoping for, and I'm optimistic that there will be a amicable solution to whatever challenge may arise. Thank you very much, Sean. Interesting and important report.